Angela Yee. I feel like I did a whole interview because I've been talking to this woman. But it's a Wealth Wednesday. Of course, my partner, Stacey Tisdale, is here with me.
Happy Wealth Wednesdays, everybody. Who couldn't talk to this amazing woman that y'all are all about to hear from?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We're really excited. We have Joy Hunt here today, and she is the founder at See You at the Bank University Business Group. Serial entrepreneur like crazy. You're in hair. You're in hair extensions. You're in auto. You're in everything. Tax prep, gym, fitness, business coaching. How does somebody who starts out as a lawyer see all these business opportunities?
I don't like to look at title. So I'm looking like, where is the money? Where do I see an opportunity? And that's where I go. So I'm not really big on titles or having a position. I'm like, what is the best opportunity? And then that's where I'm going.
That's a hard thing for some people to see because I feel like structure is so important too, right? Like you might see something that is good. Like I had a hair store before and it worked for a little while until it didn't. But it also is being able to like get the right people in position to run things. So how difficult is that? Because sometimes if you can't be there because you have so much going on, how hard is it to find a team and how did you do that?
It's very hard to find a team. So it's hard to find someone who's going to work like you and who's going to keep your same culture, your same values, your same system. So in the beginning, you're going to have to be there. And that's kind of the answer that people, I wanted to start a business and hire someone. They're going to steal from you. They're not going to run it right. They're going to run into the ground. So you have to be there. And then you have to try to find someone to duplicate you if you want to scale it.
Right. That's important because I've had like some of tragic business partner stories. And even just aside from that, also people who can not run the business with the same type of way that you would. Like, say they have a nasty personality, but that's not how you want your business to be perceived. Correct. Like, you're not going to come in here and the person is rude and nasty, and then you're like, dang, that's a reflection on me.
Correct.
They're an extension of your brand.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what was the first business that you did?
My very first business was my law practice. I quit working for a law firm doing asset protection, and I went and started the Hunt Law Group.
And I know you had a lot of business success with your partner, and then you really kind of went through it personally, and that's kind of led you to change everything, and now you've just built these amazing franchises and everything else. Can you tell us a little bit about that personal story?
Sure. So 3 years ago, I was in a toxic marriage, 10 years, and it turned abusive. And I was like, you know what, girl, you need to leave. You just need to leave. And so he just wasn't my person. So left. And about 3 weeks later, we were still working together, like just going through a divorce. And then he shot at me at our dealership in front of our son. And I had to just pack up and move to Florida because my brother was in Orlando. That's how I got to Orlando.
Wow.
And then a month later, he took all the money out of the accounts, locked me out of our businesses. And so February of 2022, my mom paid my rent.
Dang.
Wow. We talked about this a little bit, and we talked about how things like, not that it was a big blown up case of it, but domestic violence cases, how 99% of them actually start in financial abuse.
Correct.
And you were really in a financially abusive relationship.
So when you're with a controlling person, you don't see it in the beginning. Right. And then slowly but surely over time, I would notice bank accounts I don't have access to, or the cards I have access to have different amounts than what he has access to.
So you had a lower limit.
And then when I would bring it up, he would switch it, but then he would switch every time I had a card, that limit would be smaller. And then as it got later, and I really try to voice my opinion, then that's when he'll throw things or start yelling. And so that was, whenever he got violent, I would then just be quiet because I don't want to have any kind of confrontation. And so, but over time, it's like, well, this is a pattern. Like, and I keep wanting him to change versus, girl, you need to remove yourself from the situation. So financial abuse is real. By the time a woman realizes she is being financially abused, I think it's too late. They've already moved things around, or you're already stuck. Maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and you don't have your own income. So for me, he's just, I'm going to block you from your income. So now I got to start all the way back over.
You have to come back. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, you have to come back and visit us in October. We always have Kim Pentago from the National Network to End Domestic Violence on to talk about financial abuse. And just before we leave this topic, what would you tell women who find themselves in this situation?
I would say, number one, don't say anything to your abuser. He's only going to make things worse. You need to go get a plan. So you can't just leave, because if you just leave abruptly, number one, you probably don't have money to leave. Number two, you don't want to like tick them off. You want to have a plan. Don't tell the plan to anyone except to a close person that you know. That may mean you may have to go get a job or, get a certificate in real estate. Like, go actually start earning some money, because the second you leave, it's going to be lights out.
You got to be prepared. I appreciate you for sharing that, because I see so many times women who are in situations and people kind of act like, well, why didn't she just leave? Well, you stayed and he did X, Y, and Z to you and you saw what was going on. But it's not as simple as saying, what he said, what he put his hands on me, I'm out. Normally, it does not happen that way.
Correct.
And it also mentally can break you down, where you start, and like you said, you get separated from people close to you. A lot of times, sometimes you don't even want to tell people what's happening.
You're so ashamed of it.
You feel like it's your fault.
They isolate you, so no real friends, because you're isolated, right? And then a lot of times you don't want to see the truth, because you don't want to admit that I was in this. Like, right. No, it can't be this. A lot of times there's going to be, we are tied together. So I have my in-laws live with me. My sons got this big old house, got all these bills. Like, do I just leave? So it's kind of hard. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know how to put yourself first, which I was the person that's going to take care of everyone else except for Joy. So I officially had to say, I'm going to put me first. But it is embarrassing to talk about it. Because, girl, you smart. How did you get caught up in that? It's like, girl, I did.
Right. And you're not alone. Like, it's so many smart women and so many strong women.
Here. I was in it for 3 years, yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and I think women are ashamed of it. And so I wanted to make sure that once I healed, that I spoke up, because a lot of women don't want to speak up, or they think they're the only ones. And I want people to understand, hey, it's not your fault, because the person that you got with, they were totally different than the person you see now. The mask is all the way off now. But in the beginning, everything was plotted and planned. They knew exactly how to push your buttons to get you to fall for them. And then it's just lights out.
When you and I spoke, you said one of the things, you're a phenomenal business coach. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that you coach people is use your personal story in your business. Mm-hmm. Talks about that.
So I believe that your test is your testimony. And so if whatever you have gone through, that's what makes you you, and that's what makes you unique. And you want to stand on that, not be ashamed of that. Mm-hmm. So if you were raped, if you were homeless, whatever it is, embrace that, and then share your story of how you overcame it.
Yeah.
And that's going to, make you unique. It's your story. And you're going to also be relatable to other people. And that's how you find your tribe. When you're quiet, no one knows you. So I posted a post about a woman who had a restraining order, and then a week later the husband came and killed her. And I just said, hey, ladies, and whenever the abuse starts, it's not going to get better. Because I kept thinking, it's going to get better. It's not.
Change.
And then someone hopped in the comments, oh, you wouldn't know? And I was like, oh, I got time today.
Right.
Baby, I do know. No. And then once I just spoke on like a little bit of my story, people kept, oh my gosh, that happened to me. I totally understand. Mm-hmm. I was like, whoa, there's more people like this. So let me be more vocal, so I can, one, attract my tribe, to let them know, hey, you're not alone. Number two, your abuser wants you to be quiet.
Yeah, it's empowering to be able to tell your story.
Correct.
And what can he do about it? Because they count on you to not want to
Correct.
let anybody know what's going on.
They want you just to die off and, go on the sunset and, not live your best life. And it's like, no, I'm going to speak up about what I endure, but more importantly, how I overcame it. Mm-hmm. Forget what I did, what I went through, how I overcame it. And so whatever you're going through, you can overcome also.
So let's follow your journey. You said you lived in Houston. Mm-hmm. And then, but you're from LA?
From LA,
You're
born
from LA. You moved to Orlando from Houston.
Correct.
Okay, so when did you move to Orlando?
December of 2021.
Okay. I'm just trying to get, so when you went to Orlando, what happened there? What businesses were you going to Orlando for?
I was shot at November of 2021.
Okay.
So I was going to Orlando to get away from my husband. I was still working for our business from home. Ooh. They're thinking I'm working from home in Houston because I had moved out the house by that time. but I actually had moved to Florida. They didn't know.
Okay.
And then about 30 days later is when he took all the money out. So everything is dealing with control.
And then legally, there wasn't anything you could do about that.
So we're in litigation right now.
Okay, good.
There's not much legal support at all.
So here's the thing with the legal system. Number one, it costs money. So whenever they don't follow an order, it costs you money to enforce it. Whenever you want to file an action, it costs. That's another way of control. So I'm going to drain your resources so that you can no longer fight. So that's why I'm so adamant I'm giving so much free game on my page, because if you are in that tight situation, girl, just go to my page, get you a little business, sell a little digital product, get them attorney fees, because it's going to cost you money just to get out of the situation that you're in. A lot of times why someone can't leave, they don't have the resources to leave.
Right.
So in addition to being part of your tribe, what are some of the other things you teach entrepreneurs who come for your coaching business?
So I teach you, number one, how to structure your business to make sure that your assets are protected by layering multiple things, so parent companies, holding companies, trust, those kinds of things. I teach entrepreneurs how to get free money for their business with business grants.
Ooh, need that.
Wait, back up. Free money. Go ahead.
Free money.
Yeah.
So
many grants available that
I
we
know.
don't know how to access them.
correct. Like right now, Progressive has a $50,000 commercial grant. So you want to get a car for your business, they're giving you $50,000. So a lot of times, business owners are going to take on all this debt, credit cards, lines of credit, loans, just to get the business open, not realizing getting it open is just one step.
Yeah, trust me, I know.
Now we have to get this bad boy going. We got to get clients coming in. We got to have inventory.
And that all costs money.
And so when you exhaust all your resources and go into debt, my analogy is that's the monkey around your neck. That's that stress, because now you got to get out of that. So I want to teach entrepreneurs how to get free money for their business to start, scale, and grow their business.
What's great about grants is that you don't have to pay them back.
Correct.
And so it's not a loan. And actually, Charles, who introduced me to you, was like, you need to talk to her to get some grants for your business. Because sometimes I also feel like we just finance everything ourselves. And I think when it comes to being a Black woman business owner, that's kind of how we're taught to do
Correct.
it, because it's harder to access capital to be able to get that infusion into your business. Sometimes you don't want to give up a piece of your business
Correct.
to get an investor. You don't want to take on even more debt. So you're just basically like working or coming up with money to invest back into your business when you can actually apply for these grants that you would be quite eligible for.
Correct.
And they're not that. I mean, we recommend everyone do it with someone like Joy. It's just so helpful.
Sometimes it's hard to also, the process of even applying for grants can be overwhelming.
Some of it is, and then
Yeah.
I was opening a couple the other day. I'm like, oh, they're only asking you 5 questions on
Yeah.
your phone. It's
A lot
not
of
as
times,
complicated
a lot
anymore.
of times, people think it's so complicated they don't even
Mindset,
try.
yeah.
Like there's a Galaxy grant right now for $3,500. It has 3 questions: your name, email, zip code, and your gender.
Okay.
That's it.
You text that to me when we're done.
And it's like you can
I
apply
do that
for business
one.
grants. Most of the applications are going to be online. They're super simple to fill out. I have a business grant bundle that breaks down how to do the application. So it's like I say apply for 5 to 10 grants every single month to increase your chances of winning. It's free money for your
Let me
business.
ask you this now, with everything happening with DEI getting dismantled, do you see that there's less grants or less grants that are specifically, because it used to be like, oh, this grant is for a Black woman-owned
It was
business. Or
everywhere.
this grant's for a Black-owned business. Is that something now that is being kind of, people are being more quiet about it, or they don't exist anymore? I see a lot of companies also getting rid of their DEI programs because they no longer have to do it. So what have you found?
So right now in the business grant community, a lot of the businesses are not federally funded. So if you're not federally funded, you're not affected by this new wave of the administration.
Okay, good to know. Because I was like, what is happening with Now, you also are known as the Business Bestie.
Yes.
So tell me, where did that title, who dubbed you the Business Bestie?
I dubbed myself the business bestie.
I love it.
So
We
when
all need a Business Bestie.
Definitely.
So when I started going online on my new venture, I was like, I want to combine my legal areas of expertise, but I've been in business for 20 years. So I know everything that can go wrong in business because either I've been there or I've helped someone get through it. So I'm kind of combining both worlds, the business side and the legal side together as your business bestie.
What would you say are the 3 biggest challenges that we have as far as starting a new business, being an entrepreneur, a small business? What would you say are the three biggest things that you see?
The three biggest challenges is number one, not realizing that you're starting a 7-figure brand from day one. A lot of times we just get a logo, a website, and just start the business, and we don't protect it. We don't trademark our name. We don't get an LLC. We're just out here doing things, and then when someone takes your name, or if you get sued for something, now you're losing your assets. So not treating your business like it's a real business in the beginning. Number two, I would say not understanding how to market their business. They put all their time into getting it open, and then it's like, well, just because the door's open, the clients aren't just running in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand how to market your business. Number three is they go into way too much debt in the beginning. They feel like they have to have everything to start, and I believe in make money by Monday. Just go sell your product right now in as raw shape as possible to get a sale, to figure out what it is that the streets want. Once you get exactly what it is that they want, and you have a system, I call it proof of concept, then go take the funding and then 10x that. In the beginning, a lot of times you're just throwing things against the wall. Maybe my clients want T-shirts, but they want sweatshirts. So that I'm selling earrings, they want necklaces, and you spend so much money in the beginning trying to figure out what it is that's your mix, and then once you know what your mix is, you're now out of money.
Right.
You said 10x that. The whole 10x concept has been like one of the most life-changing things ever. Basically getting rid of all this stuff and only focusing on your special ability. But that's the thing that a lot of entrepreneurs don't do. They don't delegate. They don't hire. They get too afraid to do that, and they try to do everything themselves instead of focusing on that unique ability that created the business.
Correct. So I believe in focusing on your strengths and then hiring for your weaknesses. And always be developing your strengths to keep on going. So if you're good at this area, find someone that's good where you're weak so that you can spend all of your time focusing on what your strengths are.
Now, Creme de la Creme, you started that but didn't really have any experience in like hair care necessarily, right? Is that
none? I never wore extensions for a day in my life when I started that business.
So just fill me in on how this whole thing morphed in, because I know you saw a lack in the community of something that you felt like you could provide. So I want to know what was going on in Joy's mind that made her say, this is not a business I'm familiar with. I am not licensed, but I'm going to go ahead and get this going.
So you know how I said I like opportunity? So my soon-to-be ex-husband, he was selling the hair extensions, and he asked me to watch Chris Rock's movie Good Hair and to give my opinion as to whether or not I thought that he should do the business. And after watching that movie, and I'm seeing all these women spend all this money on hair.
Period.
As a lawyer, when I give my retainer fee, they always tell me, oh, I have rent, I have this. Or I tell me, well, they can't pay it. But I'm watching this show, like, they're telling me, wait a minute, I'm in the wrong industry. So I was like, this is going to be big. Let me partner with you. I'll put half up, but we need to bring it to Houston. And so just by seeing that one movie, I'm like, that's going to be something huge, because this is now circa 2008, before AliExpress and all of that. You couldn't just get hair extensions. So once you see a need in a business and where you can be a niche, you want to just jump on that and then just take it full throttle.
I saw you also said that a lot of places are closed on Mondays. And you said, I'm going to be open on Mondays.
7 days
Thank
a week.
you.
7
Thank
days a
you.
week.
Which I never understood. Restaurants are that same way. So like even right now, like we have this coffee shop in Brooklyn, and what benefits us, because we now have a liquor license, so we have a bar.
Okay.
But a lot of places aren't open Mondays, sometimes even Tuesdays, because just because I think those are slow days for restaurants. But because we are open as a coffee shop during the day and it still thrives during that time, I was like, I see an opportunity for us. But I will say what we lack in right now is making sure we have necessary staff and making sure that people, because I do think it's a unique time as far as people not wanting to go out and spend money as much anymore. So how do we encourage people to want to come out and be in community like that?
So what you could do is on your slower days, have some kind of special.
Yeah.
So like a senior discount, a veteran discount, buy one, get one half off, or maybe bundle up one of your meals, but make it like do you have any kind of loyalty program? If
Yeah,
they
we
come
do.
in, they'll get double points on those days. You want to bring traffic to your slower days so that they can kind of still bring money for you.
Thank you, business bestie.
Right?
I got you, girl.
I
I got
know.
you.
Total
I'm
business
about to just
bestie.
start asking some questions.
Right?
My own personal usage.
Oh, wow. Wow. Who is your ideal client? Who's the ideal entrepreneur? Or you can work with any type of entrepreneur?
I can work with. No, I'm not going to say any entrepreneur. 'Cause if you aren't driven, if I'm gonna have a whole bunch of excuses, no. But my target audience will be three different people. Number one is going to be my startup. They're trying to get it going, or they got the business but they don't have any sales, and they're trying to figure how do I get this bad boy going. That's number one. Number two is going to be a 6-figure entrepreneur who is stuck at a ceiling. I can't get past this income. I need to tweak something, but what is it? And my third one is the monkey is on my neck. I have gotten into a problem and I don't know how to get out of this, and I need some direction. So those are going to be my 3 target audience.
And what's the process? Do you do like calls, coaching calls?
I have a mentorship program, I have consultations, and I have a community. So
Okay.
I can kind of fit you in one of those price points.
See, and what I love, you also were in like the automotive business too.
Yeah, collisions.
Like, I mean, and then tax preparation. I feel like these are all things that are like so different from each other, but there's one thing that remains the same, and that is business is business.
Business is business. And once you get the blueprint of how to start, structure, and fund your business,
You can
all you
apply
do
it.
is just change the product and or service. But I will say this, you have to make one business hot. You can't start 3 at one time. So you got to get one house. So although I have all these businesses, I didn't have them all at one time.
Right.
So
right.
I'm going to have one that's hot, and then I'll get another one going, and then I'll get another one going. I may let go of this one. You want to always stay
You're
ahead
right.
of the industry trends. What's going on in your industry? What's going on? So you can make moves ahead of time versus being reactive.
What are your thoughts about partnerships too? Because I know I touched on that earlier. Now, one of my homegirls was like, I don't never partner with anybody because I just can't do it. And I know another guy who has a food franchise, does it by himself, and he's like, I don't want to deal with a partner. It just never works out. But I've had both experiences. I have a partner that it works, but then I've had some like, like I said, more of them haven't worked than have. So I want to know what your thoughts are on that and what type of business bestie advice you can give.
A business partnership is like a marriage. So you don't want to just jump into bed or jump into business with anybody because it's so hard to make a business partnership work. It is hard to find someone who's going to work at that same level, have that same work ethic, have that same vision, have the same mindset as to what we're doing with the business, how we're treating the customers, how we're spending the money. It is hard. And the problem is a lot of times we just jump in because we're cool. We have this idea, not realizing we are on 2 different spectrums on work ethic. I work 7 days a week. You work banking hours. It's never going to work.
Yeah.
So I would say unless you know, I would say pump your brakes on getting a partner. Just try to do a joint venture. I'm not a fan of a partnership unless you just know that we are vibing. We have not the same vision for the business. What is our work ethic? What do I consider working? What's your view on customer service? How do you want to spend the money? Do you want to reinvest in marketing? Like all of these things you got to kind of know in the beginning. So you need to kind of have all this discussion before the money is made, because once that money is made, that's when the problem starts to come.
I think it's relationship too, and almost being like a soulful connection. Wealth Wednesdays. Angela, just as you get to know her as a person, I think I always tell people she thinks it's like bad luck to treat people badly. And I feel that as well. And that's a wonderful place to come together in a
Correct.
partnership. So having
Correct.
those values.
Correct.
And I think that's like one of the most critical
And I know,
aspects.
like, just for people like behind the scenes, Stacey's going to be the one that does the prep calls and make sure she knows I'm going to do my own research, but she'll put together like a whole sheet of like, okay, here's some bullet points so that we can supplement that with the work that I'm doing.
And that's find someone who's strong where you're weak, right? Or strong.
It's not it's like a compliment, but I think one of the things that's really made this work fantastically is that just blind. Something's happened and we blindly trust each other.
Right.
We trust each other.
And then you also have books that are available for people. So let's just say that's a good way to start, right? Right package, wrong address. Tell me about that.
So right package, wrong
that
address
title.
is the wrong partnership I was in.
There you go.
So I'm writing a book. I wrote a book on what I had to do to overcome getting myself out that dark season, wanting to give up, and then have to go back and fight out and kind of just fight for my true passion. So when you are going through a dark time with whatever it is, a lot of times you want to give up. And it's one thing just to kind of get yourself back together. It's another thing to then go and thrive and live your best life. And I want everyone to be living their best life, because for several years I was just existing. I was on the back burner. I wasn't really living. I was existing. I was drained. I was tired. I was doing for everyone else except for me. So my right package at the wrong address means nothing is wrong with you. You are at the wrong address. Whether it's the relationship, the partnership, the job, the friendship, nothing was wrong with you. You were just at the wrong address. So just return to sender, and we're going to now reroute you to go to the right address. A lot of times when things don't work out, the relationship, the job, the friendship, we think it's
we internalize
I gotta
it.
change this.
Totally internalize it.
Sometimes nothing is wrong with you. You were just at the wrong place.
You give away a lot for free. A lot of free resources. Tell our audience about that.
I have free ebooks. I have a free masterclass every Sunday and Thursday, how to structure, fund, and market your business. I want to get the word out there as to how to properly run your business, because I feel everyone needs to have another stream of income. In this administration, we all need to have another stream of income. But I want people to be financially independent so they can kind of thrive on their own.
And how many people are in your community now?
I have thousands.
You know what I like about this too? You also stress the importance of knowing your business inside out.
Inside out. So there is no such thing. I'm going to start the business and have someone else run it. You need to know every single part of the business, every lane, everything. 'Cause if not, your employees will run over you. So I believe, like in my dealership, I know how to wash the cars. I know how to detail the cars. I know about all the sales contracts. So if your employee's not doing it right, how do you not know it's not right?
Exactly.
In my hair salons, I don't have no license. I can do a sewing. I can cut a bob. I can color. I know when them tracks ain't laid right, because you have to know everything in your business. If not, your employees will play with you.
Yeah.
And then number two, how are you going to be the CEO, the expert, and you don't know everything?
Exactly.
What do you think about now going through what you've gone through, going into business with your partner? What would you tell people about that? Because there are a lot of people who are like, well, we are. She's giving me the death stare.
If
right
you guys
now.
could see this stare, oh my God.
But it is a real thing.
It is.
Right? And so what are some safety precautions you can put in place to make sure you're protected? Because even in that instance, people are still going to do that.
Safety
right? So
precautions.
what do you need to have in place to make sure that you're protected just in case, just like a prenup, things don't work out?
So I would say treat the business like it's a real business. Yes, that's your best friend, your husband, your mom, your dad. Have the proper contracts. Have the proper documentation. Run it like it's a real business. So at work, it's not mom or dad or wife. We're running it like we're real employees. I think both men and women should look into having a prenuptial agreement or a postnuptial agreement. You just never know what will happen. And it's just marriage insurance. Like you have car insurance, you don't want to use it, but if you get hit, you want to be able to be protected. So
Trust me, I know my car just got totaled.
Really?
It was parked on the street.
Totaled.
A drunk driver hit it.
Oh,
but,
my
yeah.
gosh.
And I was like, thank God I had all my insurance in place. But yeah, so you don't want a car to hit your marriage.
Correct. So it's just while we are happy, lovey-dovey, we're going to just break down how we want to divide things if something were to go wrong. But I don't want anything to go wrong. So we hope to never have to use it.
How did you manage to build yourself back up? Like you said, you were in a dark time. What were those first steps that you took, and what gave you that motivation?
My son. So if I didn't have my son, I would be right now in Dallas, Texas, on my mama's couch, probably 20 pounds heavier, and I would have checked out. Like it was just, I didn't have it in me to do a whole nother round of business and I was like, I'm done. But I had my son, and I wanted to be the mom that he could be proud of. Number one. Number two, he's used to a certain life, Now I'm like, okay, what are we gonna do? So my son was a big factor. Number two, God was my strength to kind of keep my mind together. Number three, he wasn't gonna meet me a year later at that same place. I was not going to be at that same place a year later. Whenever I ran to him again, I was not going to be that same person. So I used my anger. I used I used all that umph for good.
In a productive way.
Talk about that, like channeling those strong emotions.
Bam.
A lot of people don't like feeling uncomfortable. They feel anxious or something. They think something's wrong and retreat. You just got to use those feelings.
Oh, you gotta knock an elephant right in the head. So I use all that. I don't want to say anger. It was anger in the beginning. I used all that all that anger, sadness,
energy.
Thank you, energy. And I said, I'm just about to be the best person I can be.
Yeah. And it's okay. You got to take the time to feel the emotions first. Sit on your mama's couch for a little bit.
I didn't have that time because the second I moved, the money got taken and then I'm locked out. So I was mad like, God, I don't even have time to kind of grieve. I can't just be divorced for a second. Mm-hmm. But then I was like, you know what, God? If you're putting me in this, that means that I'm built for it. Because God doesn't give you anything else that you can't handle. So I was like, you know what? I'm strong enough. I'm about to just go kill it. I didn't know how I was going to do it though. So now, God, you got me in. Well, I'm in this. You got to get me out.
You got me in this.
you got to get me out of this. Okay, you got to get me out of this. And so I prayed, I listened, but I worked every single day.
You also talk about self-care a lot. And I want you to tell me what you did for self-care, because sometimes people feel like working every day, while it is a survival thing too, sometimes it can be a distraction for other things and handling like the emotions that are going on. So what's the balance there, and what did you do for self-care?
For self-care, I made sure that every single week I was doing something for me, whether it's nails, lashes.
And we see it.
Going,
we certainly do.
Shopping. I'm always going to make sure that I'm doing something for me. Mm-hmm. And then you can't do everything. So that means that the dishes sit in the sink because you want to go spend time with your son and watch your TV. That's fine. Nothing has to be perfect. You have to be okay. And a lot of times we get overwhelmed trying to make the house good and cook
everything,
dinner and football and this and that. And it's like, girl, you got to put something down. So what you going to put down to make sure that you're okay? So I'm so conscious of making sure that I am good every single day. Because if you're empty, you can't pour into anyone else.
And it is amazing when you take that time, all of a sudden things get better.
Correct.
Things just change.
Correct. You feel better about yourself.
Mm-hmm. And I always stress the importance of also making sure that you get outside. Because I think we can be in our bubble when you're starting a business. You feel very lonely. You're trying to hustle. But sometimes you do just have to come outside, meet people, talk with people. Amazing things can happen.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And you can network.
Yep.
Network.
Work is still a network. You know what I'm saying?
Network. Or just take some time out. Just take some time out and just go to a movie, go walk, do whatever it is. If you're just stuck in that house, how are you being your best self? Your best self physically, mentally, emotionally. It's like a total package.
How old is your son now?
12.
And so do you talk to him about like what you've been through? Because for women that have hit you up and said, I've been there, I've done that. How do you navigate that?
So it's kind of like a two-edged sword. My son was 8 when the violence started to get bad. So when daddy is throwing things at mommy, he's going to run in front of daddy and say, no, daddy, don't do that. So he saw the violence, and then he was there when my husband shot at me. So he's there when I had to then pack up my
He saw the big.
So he saw everything.
Right.
So I don't have anything. I don't have to explain anything to him. He was there. So when we were in Houston, we flew first class. We came back cheap in the economy seats. He had never flown coach. And so I remember getting on the plane, and he's like, Mommy, the seats stop at 8. And I'm like, no, Deucey, there's some more seats in the back. And his eyes got big. He was like, we're not sitting here. And I was like, no, we're not. And he can just see like the disappointment in my face when we finally got in the back. I'm feeling so bad, like, oh my God, I'm in coach. And then God just said, girl, you could have been dead. You over here crying because you're not, you know what I'm saying? And he goes, Mommy, I said, Deucey, just give Mommy 6 months. Give Mommy 6 months. I'm going to get us back.
Because the lesson is him seeing you get out of it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
That's the lesson.
He saw that, like, Benihana's turned into Little Caesars. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, things were different. I was very transparent. You know, hey, we're gonna go to Fun Spot, not Disneyland. Like Fun Spot, like the little local. Like things were different. But I said, just give Mommy 6 months. Just give me 6 months.
And they don't care. They'd rather see their mom happy. They really would.
I'm still down for Little Caesars.
It is the bomb. It is the bomb. My favorite. So over time, you know, he's been seeing me, and I'm like, you know, Deucey, if I'm on a Zoom, I'm making money. I'm making money for your Amazon. So don't come in here. You know what I'm saying?
For your Roblox.
I'm very transparent, but he's seen me over time grow, and it's so cute. This other day, one of his friends, his mom and their dad are breaking up. Goes, Mommy, don't you need another assistant? Because you're busy. Can you hire her for your business? I'm like,
Look at him.
Look, trying to be a little HR person.
That's a head of HR right
Aw.
So making sure that he sees that, you know, one monkey doesn't stop the show. So if something happens to you, you got to still get back up. As long as God keeps waking you up, you have to get back up. Because it's not just for you. It's whose life are you going to impact by your story, by you not giving up?
And they see everything. I got a divorce. My son was 11 years old, and I remember being terrified, like for months, talking to people, everything. How am I going to tell him about this? So I just told him, Mommy and Daddy are best friends. They love each other. They're not like boyfriend and girlfriend, so they're not like husband and wife, so they're going to live in 2 separate places. He just looked up at me and he said, I know. I was like,
I was waiting for you to tell me.
Yeah, exactly.
They know.
Exactly.
They know.
They
They
know.
know. And for so many women, you talked about how difficult it is to get out of financially abusive situations and things, but your children know. And I found a lot of strength. That wasn't an abusive relationship at all, but just knowing that stepping out of it is what they will see and what they will remember. And if you stay in it, you're kind of condoning it.
Correct.
So you're teaching this. You're
Correct.
teaching your son it's okay to be a man like this. If
Correct.
it's not, if you wouldn't want your child to stay in a relationship, you got to
Correct.
leave it.
That's it. Because I remember me and my husband, we were already divorcing because it got to that point. I was like, he's not seeing how a woman should be treated. Like, we just need to leave. So we were in counseling. We were just we were divorcing, right? So after all this happened, before we actually packed up and moved to Florida, but I had moved out. I said, he asked me, Mommy, are you gonna ever get back with Daddy? And I said, well, Deucey, what do you want? I wanted to hear what he said. He was like, no. I want someone, you know, who's not going to yell at you. And I want someone who's, you don't have to keep asking money. Go to H-E-B, that's our grocery store. And I want someone who's not going to kill you. And tears just came down my eyes. I was like, for all these years, I am trying to hold this family together for the image and the 2-parent home and all of this. And it's like, he's just like, I don't want you with this person.
Right.
Yeah, that's what people do. They hold it together.
Hold it together.
That's what we're taught.
Right.
And I was totally on that same track, and a friend of mine cold cocked me. Her mother had passed, stayed in an unhappy marriage, and I didn't know that her mother had passed. And I was like, should I get a divorce? I don't know. And she told me from the child's point of view, my mother stayed together for the children. I'm the reason my mother died, an unhappy woman. Don't do that to your child. I never thought of it that way. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because you think that 2-parent home is what they need. But if it's cussing and fussing, and if it's toxic, like this is what you are teaching your kids.
And
You're right.
In their name. It's
Correct.
Not, it's not right.
It's not.
I used to, my parents didn't get divorced till we left for college. But it was like they held it together until we moved out the house. And I was like, y'all could have been did that. You know, because you could see it. You're
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you're on the couch every night.
Right.
What's the point?
Right.
Like that's, you know, so. So I thank you for being so
This
open.
went in so many different directions.
But
So
it
back to you, entrepreneurs. Where
No,
can
it
they
is
find
important.
you? It's all part of it. It is very important.
You can find me at seeyouatthebank.com, on Instagram and TikTok, joyhunt_ESQ, JOIHUNT_ESQ.
All right. I love this. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you for
us. I
having
appreciate
me.
you.
Yay.
Happy Wealth Wednesdays, everybody.
Thank you, Business Bestie.
Way up.